So going to one of the questions that I had is that, if you're starting a practice of mindfulness, where can you start? Because we have just what you were talking about. We have start with self-care, start with meditation, start with being present. So where can we start? There's so many things to start with.
Yeah, we're in an age of an overflux of information. There's so much information out there, and it can get confusing. I encourage my clients to start with their breath. We breathe 20,000 times a day. How often are we paying attention to it? Right? We're usually just not thinking about it. It's a thing that's happening all the time, and it doesn't mean that you have to sit for 45 minutes the first time if you've never done this before and try to watch your breath and not let your mind go anywhere. Like that's only going to create more discouragement. I'm a big fan of Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I always go to that book because I think he really instilled in me this idea that you start small and you build yourself up when you want to develop a habit. So if you want to begin a practice, you set a timer for 2 minutes. Set a time for 2 minutes. Sit comfortably, be alert in your posture, be grounded where you're not swaying, you're just sitting there, and you're just watching your breath. That's it. Watch your breathing for 2 minutes. Notice what happens with the mind. Because if you're lucky, you make it to 5 seconds without your mind wandering. Right? If you're lucky, you're already you're doing pretty well if you get to 5 seconds. But what often happens is that the mind's going to wander, and just notice this. Notice how your mind wanders, and then bring your attention back to your breathing and continue to notice and watch your breathing in and out, in and out. And you're watching it, you're observing it. And then you keep bringing the mind back to the breath every time it wanders. Do this for 2 minutes. See what it's like. Don't have any crazy goals. Don't have any expectation. Go in with an intention that I'm curious. I'm curious about my breathing. I'm curious to see how this works. Have a little bit of playfulness in the process to where you're not judging yourself. And that's how I would encourage people to start. And then you do 2 minutes, and then you work to 5 minutes. And then you can go to 10 minutes and keep going until you can get to maybe 20 or 30 minutes a day. Because that's where you start to see true transformation and what we find in neuroscience, and the brain actually starts to create new neural pathways after weeks of weeks, not months, which is fascinating. It only takes weeks of practicing consistently for 30 minutes a day.